Shalom, shalom. It's your favorite Aki. Out here camping. Got out to my spot up north, Rivermouth, the UP. Got a beautiful sight out here. Right off the water. Beautiful, beautiful. It's a little cold. It's windy too. So I'll get into the purpose of the video, but out here cooking over the fire. Do that. Look at that. Your boy is chef in the wild. Give you an overview. I was cooking over here in the kitchen, and it's a little cold over here. And plus, I just think that's more like the wilderness experience over there. So I don't own the rights to the music, but as the potatoes cook down, I'm gonna put some onions and some green peppers, and I'm gonna do that. But that's where we at. Little setup, but I'll just give you an update of how I got to this point out here on my solo retreat. Man, it was a little hard getting up out of here, trying to load this trailer up by myself. I had a hard time, and my ruach, my spirit, gave me a lot of revelation on coming out here in this setup. So let's get into it. This morning I got up, packed up, loaded up the truck, and then I had to back the truck up to get my hitch on. And I couldn't get it all the way on there. I got it right over it a little bit, but it wasn't all the way hooked up. And since it wasn't all the way hooked up, I put the chains on there thinking, okay, I'll pull it down a little and it'll settle in there and it'll drop on the ball. So I backed up, got it over a little bit, and it was hovering over it, and it was low enough. So I started to pull out the driveway just so I could get down and have it sit on this ball a little better. And as I was pulling out the driveway, it didn't set on the ball right, and it started to come off. So it wasn't all the way connected. So I had to stop and get it situated, and it was a hard time getting it on. So especially when you're trying to do it by yourself, I had to check on these potatoes, excuse me. Especially when you're trying to get it set on yourself, but I knew it wasn't all the way on there when I started. But I thought I could get by with just having it on there a little. So I pulled down the driveway. My driveway got a little incline on it too. So I thought as I went down and the trailer went down, that the trailer would just kind of flop onto the ball. But it didn't do that. So it started to come off because as I went down, the truck went down first and the trailer was still up. So it came off. Not all the way off, but enough to let me know that I couldn't continue like that. And my intention was just to do it for a little bit, to pull it out the driveway, get it on the street, get it level, and then when it's level, I'll be able to get it done right. But unfortunately, when I was going down, I didn't have time to get it level. So the lesson that my ruach told me about that is like, you knew it wasn't right when you started it. You knew you didn't have it all the way together when you started it. How you think you was going to get a good result out of that? And I think that's what happens in life. You know, the one thing a man knows is when he fails. One thing a man knows when he missed the mark. And he doesn't know after he missed the mark. He knows when he's starting to compromise at the beginning. So you know in the beginning when you didn't give it your all and you didn't put your whole heart into it, and you thought that just getting it partially hooked up, and you did, like, they ought to be lucky I showed up to work. They ought to be happy that I even came in today. So you start to compromise thinking that your little that you do is going to be enough. And then my ruach told me that, no, this is an all-in. You know, either he's going to be Elohim over you all or not at all. So this is not where you can be half in, half out. You know, today I want to be righteous because it's the Sabbath, and I'm around righteous people, so I want to make sure that I look the part as though I am righteous. But then you get to a point where you're around people that you grew up with and whatever, and you're like, oh man, it's all right, it's a little compromise. And that's why we in this season of Pesach, when it talks about a little leaven leavens the whole lump. That little compromise that you're doing is going to cause you to get off. So leaven is equivalent to sin in your heart. So when you get sin in your heart like that, it starts to rise and it starts to grow. But you knew in the beginning it wasn't going to work. But you try to do it anyway. And that's what I did today. I'm going to turn this music down just in case they try to... No, I ain't going to do that, because it's going to be louder when I get in there. But you knew from the beginning that you wasn't going to be able to... that it wasn't all the way right. So that little leaven leavens the whole lump. And as I pull down in the driveway, now I'm in a harder position because it's on a hill and it's just me. I don't have nobody ground guiding me to get back in to hook it up. And up the road at my corner, I see my neighbor coming down this Friday. He's setting his trash out because the trash runs on Friday. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ask him for some help. And then I was like, nah, I'm gonna try to figure it out on my own. I'm gonna see if I can just work it out on my own. I ain't gonna ask for no help. So he comes out to the curb, and then he goes back in the house, and then I spend the next 15-20 minutes trying to get this trailer. Now this trailer here, and it's just me. I'm trying to get it pushed up a hill so I can get it lower onto the truck. And I know it's kind of hard to explain, but just imagine. I'm gonna show you. I got my back up against that, and I'm trying to push back up a hill and then get the truck in so the hitch can fall on there. And I should have really just asked for help. And that's what my Rob told me about the situation. It's like, hey, you got to know when to ask for help. You sitting there trying to do it all yourself. Excuse me. You sitting there trying to do it all yourself, and you had help present itself, and all you had to do is ask the question for help. And you got too much pride, you're going to try to do it yourself. And I know as men, we think we can do it all. We get into situations where we're like, I ain't going to ask nobody. I ain't got nobody but me anyways. But sometimes you don't even ask because you disqualify yourself from even being an applicant for help because your pride won't even let you even ask. So I spent about 15-20 minutes down there trying to get it on myself. And then luckily, he's a Elohim of second chances. Yeah, I know that's looking good. Your boy chef out in the wilderness. I'm gonna get some seasoning. But my neighbor came back out because he wanted to put some more trash in there. Once again, I don't own the rights to this music, so hopefully they don't flag me because of it. But he comes back out, and I wasn't gonna miss the second opportunity to ask for some help. So I go down there, ask him if he can help me ground guide me in, and he comes down and give me a hand, and within a few minutes, we got it up. And he gave me some lessons, gave me some tips, because he said he'd been camping for a while. He's a new neighbor too. And to be honest, I ain't met him before today. Like, he's been probably living in that neighborhood about 5-6 months, and passing by, but we had never really stopped and talked. And that's the thing too. It's like you got to get to know people and start to ask questions, and you never know when you may need help. So I praise Yah that he was gracious enough to offer some help to me and provide assistance in my time of need. And then driving up here was pretty uneventful, but I got up here and it's absolutely beautiful up here. But at the same time, it's cold, and people are extremely friendly, and it almost catches me off guard because you used to people being looking at you sideways, especially when people don't, necessarily look just like you, and one of the only ones. But I've been showed so much love at this camp, this river mouth here. Ranger Smith, lady came up and showed me the ropes and said, gave me some things that she recommend I go see while I'm here, and gave me some other campsites over the summer that she recommends I check out. And it was just a beautiful experience. So, and I ain't gonna be here too long because I had to go put this lamb on. But this fire here, what I'm starting right here, what you're looking at, it took forever to get started. Forever. The wind was blowing, and I didn't have enough kindling together to get it all the way right. So it kept coming in and out. And it was just, I'm trying to multitask. I went from cold to that fire burning my hand when it got close. So, but the wind kept blowing it out. And I got this little fire started and it acted like it wasn't working. And I realized that you need both elements. You need all the elements. You need the wind, because the fire needs oxygen, and then you need the spark. So that let me know about the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, what the world call the Holy Spirit. That power that comes with it. Like, if you got all wind and no spark, then you ain't gonna have a fire. And no matter how strong your flame is, if the wind is blowing against you and you're not going with the wind or containing the wind, then you can't get a fire either. So you got to be, that's why they talk about obedience is better than sacrifice. You got to get a place in your life where you're using the spirit, but you also living your life in the natural, living out Torah in this physical as well. So some people are so righteous and they're no earthly good, and some people are so worldly that they're no heavenly good. So it's about balance, and it talks about that in Proverbs, that a false balance is an abomination to Yahuwah. So you got to be balanced, and and that balance was because we come from an agrarian culture where they used to have to weigh stuff. And let's say we had a guy that was selling potatoes. So we cooking up these potatoes. Yeah, they looking good, ain't they? They said we had a guy that was selling potatoes. I better get that off. Oh yeah, better start milling my seasoning. Trying to talk to y'all. I'm gonna have me out here with some bland food because my seasoning got burnt up in here. But let's say that he was selling potatoes, and what they were talking about a false balance is because the guy would have potatoes all at the top, right? So you open the bag, and then all you see is, oh man, those some good potatoes. I'm gonna eat good tonight. And you thinking you got a bag full of potatoes, but in the back, in the bottom of the bag, this joker then put rocks in there. So you thinking you got 5 pounds of potatoes, but you got 3 pounds of potatoes and 2 pounds of rocks, because he done just kind of had a false balance on you. He put it on the scale, and it showed that it was, excuse me, I tell you it's cold out here. Apologize, but I ain't apologizing. It's cold out here. Y'all sitting in y'all warm places observing this. But anyways, you think you get home, you got 5 pounds of potato, you gonna feed your family good, and you realize you got 3 pounds of potatoes and 2 pounds of rocks. So that's a false balance, because he lied. He was deceptive in his communication with you. And that's how it is with false balance when you're not being balanced in life. You're lying to yourself, because it talks about in Jeremiah 17:10 that Yahuwah, he looks in your heart. So you can try to convince man that, hey, yeah, I did this, I do that, I'm doing all I can. You can say, I did all I can. I don't know why I ain't make it. I didn't did this, I didn't try this, I didn't try that. I mean, it just ain't gonna work for me. And you saying you did all you can. And to me, who not knowing that you would been slipping and slacking, I might feel sympathetic for you. I'm like, oh man, yeah, it's gonna turn around soon, man. And I'll start making concessions to justify you being where you are. But Abba Yahuwah is going to know, like, hey, that alarm went off at 4:30. Your butt didn't get up to 6:35. You know, that alarm went off and you hit snooze. I don't know how many times you've been hitting snooze on dreams, and how many times you didn't hit snooze on this. How many times you knew it wasn't hooked up right and you tried to pull off anyway. How many times you tried to get the spark, but the ruach wasn't flowing with you. So you can tell me, and I might actually believe you and feel sorry for you. But when it comes to you got to give accountability to Yahuwah, he ain't going to feel sorry because he knows your heart. He knows the deceptive, how deceitful you were in your communications and your actions and your deeds. So you got to get to a point where you not only honest with yourself, but more importantly, you need to be honest with him, because as Adam and Eve, and I'm going to wrap up on this, we naked before him. We still naked before Abba Yahuwah. We think we can hide in the garden, that we didn't sow some fig leaves on us and that we got away. But he said, Adam, where art thou? And that wasn't a physical location that he was trying to search for. It was his heart location. He knew that Adam had started to do some things that was not in line with what he had commanded him to do. He knew it, but he wanted Adam to recognize it. So the key is, are you going to recognize it? So I give y'all a good pan view. Yeah, that's, matter of fact, man, I know what I'm going to do. I want y'all to hear that sizzle when that lamb going, and watch this. I'm going to give y'all a pan view. I'm going to go come back. Look at this. Out here. But bottom line is that you got to get your life together. Get that on that lamb. Oh, look at me. I'm getting it all over the place. If it dropped on the ground, it was still going on there. I was going to dust it off and add a little earth seasoning to it, but look at that. Let me put that in there. Look at that. Ooh, yeah. Man, I might look like I know what I'm doing, huh? Look at that. That sounds so good. You know, got the crown for a king. Having a good time out here. A little cold. But anyways, that's your update. Get all the way hooked up, all the way in. It's time out for part-time in it. It's time to be full-time. Be fully committed. If you want to be all the way out, don't act like you try to be righteous on part-time on the Sabbath. If you want to be all the way in, then let's get all the way in. Shalom, shalom. Your favorite Aki here.